Hey, what's up, and welcome to the video where I'm gonna go over some of my favorite gangster rap or hip hop records of all time. And this video kind of started off in my mind as something different than what it's gonna end up to be. And that's because I'd originally received some comments from guys asking about some of my top favorite non-metal albums. And I thought, oh, that's easy. I mean, I love a lot of classic rock, hard rock, and so naming bands from that would be easy. You know, bands like whatever, Guns N' Roses, Rage Against the Machine, Linkin Park, Alice in Chains, Van Halen, stuff like that. But I thought, is that gonna differentiate it enough? Is that interesting enough? I mean, I can make videos on my favorite albums from those guys or favorite bands, but I decided to just go a little further with it and talk about really the only other genre of music that I listen to, and that's rap. And I don't have some, huge knowledge of hip hop music or anything like that. There's just a few groups or albums that I got into for various reasons over the years. And I think all of us metalheads have some sort of connection, a taboo love, whether you want to admit it or not. I hope most of us would admit it, there's no problem with it, but we all have a love for some rap albums that just touched us in certain ways over the years, and that's cool. I almost think there's this, I don't know whether it's a darkness or beat driven or just hardness or something about super hardcore rap that kind of like coincides with metal in a sense. Obviously some bands started melding that, I don't know, Korn, Limp Bizkit, stuff like that, or Run DMC, right, originally? Was that Anthrax? Bring the Noise, classic. So at any rate, that's what I've decided to do with this video. And it's not my top five. It probably is actually, but it's just albums that I loved growing up and still love today. And just keep in mind, these are my favorites. I realize that there is just a plethora of great rap and hip hop music out there, and I'm sure everyone's got their favorites. Go ahead, leave a comment with some of yours for other people to check out. But for the people who want to throw shade and get all mad at me or whatever, just remember that these are my favorites, and I am truly just a metalhead at heart that has a secret love for some classic, I think these are all classic at this point, rap records. Starting with the first one here. This isn't the first the rap record that I fell in love with, but it's the first one that I became obsessed with. The Westside Connection, their first album, Bow Down. I know there's so many dudes out there, every once in a while you'll say some lyric or hear some lyric, somebody spits some line and you're like, oh, that's Westside Connection. And you realize that there's so many of us that are connected because of this album, just so many key lines. Every song is a banger, no skip over tracks in my opinion. I could sing every lyric from every song of this right now, and that actually came into play with how I started working with Austin D from Kimura. So I'll get into that in a little bit, and how and why a lot of these records have a connection to Kimura for me or with the group and stuff. But anyways, if you're not familiar, it's Ice Cube, WC, and Mac 10. Until this point, I never heard of Dub C or Mac 10. I only knew Ice Cube really from, It Was a Good Day, great song, or Today Was a Good Day, whatever that one's called, fantastic song. I knew of him, of course, from NWA and stuff, but I never really got into that. This is when I first started listening to Ice Cube and got into this one. So, the Westside Connection. An organization made up of highly motivated, extremely aggressive gangsters turned businessmen with one single objective: world domination, or in their words, creating a worldwide West Side, vowing to make every man, woman, and child bow down to the W, a hand sign used by their members to show affiliation. And we all know what happens after that, after they were confronted with these allegations, what they said. But killer record. Like I said, love every minute of it. I can't remember exactly how I got into this, who presented it to me, anything like that. But I do remember that I was getting into systems, having a big system in your car, the big bass. I had when I was 18, a brand new 1998 Chrysler Sebring LXI. It was real nice, kind of like just a luxury for me. And it had a killer system, and I put 212s in there, and it bumped hard. And so many of my buddies were all into that at the same time too, but I did it because I wanted those Pantera kicks to hit real hard, or Bass drops, suffocation, pierce from within. That was the first time I ever heard bass drops in metal especially, and then obviously Korn and bands started doing it, so that's how I wanted to feel it. So that translated into Chimera as well, because Mark Hunter, singer, was also, he had a system in his car. He had like a 96 Eclipse or something like that, another slick one, both red. We had some nice cars back then, you know, just working at pizza shops while we were trying to form the band and stuff. So anyways, he had a system in his car, and when it came time to make Pass Out of Existence, we wanted the bass drops and the bass to hit real hard because of our experience in our cars. And Mudrock, our producer, had a huge system in his car, and we'd go do those car tests to make sure the bass was cool for that kind of stuff. So then fast forward probably, I don't know, 2005, 2006, a band called Bleed the Sky from Orange County, California, came through and practiced at the Chimera rehearsal space. I never knew the guys, anything like that. They just needed a spot to jam, and through TJ Frost, singer of the Elite, he was in town or doing something or whatever, and he said this band, Bleed the Sky, needs a place to jam. I said, sure. So those guys rolled through, they were jamming, and just like I mentioned earlier, the drummer, Austin D, I could tell I liked his vibe, something about him, he had a good way about him or something, and one of us said some Westside Connection line, and we just looked at each other like, you know the Westside Connection? And he's like, of course. And being from SoCal and stuff like that, and he could do Crip Walk, and he's just got that gangster thug mentality to him and stuff. Thug metal, that's what he's all about. He had tattooed on his chest or stomach real huge or whatever, which I think he recently got covered up. But he had the W and the horns like that, you know? Really symbolizing the unity between metal and West Coast rap tattooed on him, two big hands. Like I said, I don't know if he still has that anymore, but anyway, so then for those who don't know, you know, Austin's now the drummer of Chimera. He's the drummer of our band, The Elite, and just a cool thing about how the Westside Connection brought us together. There was really like the moment where we were like, whoa, and we decided we want to work together with TJ, who had brought him in. At first, we named the band Three Bros before The Elite, and that's how that got started. So anyways, enough about this one. Later on, there's some special guest stuff too in this one from like other bands that I got into, other groups, the Comrades, All From the Eye, all awesome stuff. I went on to get all the solo albums from Mac 10 and Dub C. Love all those albums. So just a killer record. I totally recommend if you're not familiar. Great production, just badass, a classic. Second one's pretty cool too, but doesn't hold a candle to the first one. Bow Down. Bow down. Cross them out and put a K. Let's move on. Another banger everyone is familiar with, Eminem, the Slim Shady LP. This is, I feel like I've had this experience with a few artists in my life. And this was one where I had never heard Eminem before. No one I was hanging out with was talking about him, anything like that. No one had really heard of him yet. But one day, just on MTV up in my room, I happened to see, hi, my name is That Video. And this is the experience that I was talking about that I had where I said, oh my gosh, this is gonna be huge. This is gonna explode. And sure enough, it did. Not that I'm some, you know, what's that guy's name that can predict all sorts of things, Nostradamus or anything like that. But I was like, man, I just knew it, that this is gonna be monstrous. And it sure ended up being. That video, I had just never heard or seen anything like it. And it gave me this feeling like, whoa, I want to experience more of this. And then the second single hit, I think it was like Guilty Conscience, that had like Dre in the video. And you start seeing, oh, Dre's incorporated with this guy and stuff. Again, every song, and there's so much material, 20 songs. A lot of the time I think 20 songs, that's too many. Maybe for like a metal record or whatever, in my opinion, that's just too many. But in rap, I mean, every single one of these songs is killer. My absolute favorite, My Fault. It's called My Fault. I think of it as mushrooms. I never meant to give you mushrooms, girl. So, dude, this part of this is just so funny. His lyrics are hilarious. That's probably what I love most about it. I mean, that it has a cool groove and just a good feel to it, but his lyrics are hilarious, and he's got the biggest balls, the things he says. You know, he just doesn't care. I just don't give a fuck. Obviously, he says that, so he means it. I think Eminem's like the real deal. So would you consider this gangster rap? I don't know, probably not. I mean, I don't think he's like in a gang or anything like that, but still, whatever. It falls in that category. This is some hard hip hop in my opinion. And obviously he went on to just an incredible career. But yeah, it's just funny, dude. Little white guy from Detroit that comes out and, you know, made it with all the big dogs. Ken Kniff from Connecticut. If you know, you know. Oh man, Rock Bottom. That's such a killer song. Great. Just unbelievable lyrics in that one. And I don't know how to say this, but like, I've been pretty blessed to have a pretty normal, good life. And I remember those Rock Bottom lyrics, like gave me a different perspective, and I just really connected with him. Check that one out if you're not familiar, especially if you're down on your luck. You'll definitely connect with that one. Oh, Just Don't Give a Fuck. Yeah, that's on this album. So many good ones. The lounge version of Mushrooms. I never meant to give you mushrooms, girl. As the World Turns. If I Had $1 Million. Oh, dude. The song's called If I Had, such a killer one. Brain Damage. Awesome. He's singing, there's this line where he sings about some kid that used to pick on him in high school. I heard that kid went on to like sue him after this came out. I mean, come on, gold diggers there. anyways, the Slim Shady LP, another one. Love every song. Could sing every lyric on this. Go ahead and test me sometime. Killer stuff. Next one, kind of an offshoot of this, which I couldn't find the CD. It's 50 Cent's Get Rich or Die Trying. This is the G Unit CD, which came out with his guys after, sometime after Get Rich or Die Trying. But, and I couldn't find it. I literally, just like so many of us, if you're from my generation, you got boxes of CDs around the house too. I mean, literally, more than 1,000 just in multiple boxes and stuff. And I searched through a few until I got sick of it and I couldn't find the 50 Cent Get Rich or Die Trying, but I know I have it somewhere. But I just brought this out just so you could get a good look at the 50 Cent's mean mug there. He's a gangster for sure. But that's another one when In the Club came out. No one had talked to me about it yet. No one had showed me, but I said to myself, that's gonna be a big song. And I had no idea at that point yet that he had any affiliation with Dr. Dre and, or Eminem and those guys and stuff. And so it was awesome. And so this leads into kind of a bigger Chimera story where my love for this album truly grew. So this is probably like, I forget, late 2002 or early 2003, Chimera had just finished recording The Impossibility of Reason, and Mark Hunter, Jim LaMarca, and I all went over to England for our first time to mix the album with Colin Richardson. And we arrived in this little village called, I think it was like Louth, maybe, or something, or maybe that was the city nearby. But we went to this recording studio called Chapel Studios, which was an old church that had been converted into a house. And the recording studio area and like kind of lounge area was all downstairs, and there were living quarters upstairs. It was like the size of a normal house. It wasn't like it was some big church or cathedral or whatever, but I'd heard it had been an old church. And it was literally in a village. This studio and like 6 other houses and a pub were all that around. The next city was 20 miles away or something like that. If you want to go get groceries or whatever, it was like 20 miles down these farm roads, and everywhere you look, it's just open plains and stuff. So anyways, the point I'm getting at is there wasn't a lot to do there other than sit and, listen to your album be mixed and everything like that. But I mean, for 12, 15 hours a day for 3 weeks at, Colin Richardson and the assistant, I can't remember his name right now, was, sorry, bud, we're working on this thing. Anyways, there was one TV and it was just cable, and there was like one music channel that ran 24 hours a day. It was kind of like MTV's, maybe it was called Buzz or Scuzz or something like that, but it was like, the UK's MTV. And dude, In the Club must have played 25 times a day. Me and Jim LaMarca just got to the point where we were laughing at it so much because it would just come on all the time. It'd be on all the time. We'd drive Mark Hunter crazy because me and Jim would be singing the lyrics, and Jim always makes up his own lyrics and stuff. So just a fun time with that. And then to take it one step further, my bedroom upstairs was literally just a bed in four walls. There was no TV, there was no anything. There may have been a nightstand. There was a nightstand and my bed. That's it. So, I just go in there and have nothing. This is pre-internet. Well, I mean, there's internet, no Wi-Fi. So I don't even know if I had a computer with me. Yeah, maybe I did. But there was one dial-up line downstairs, just one. You had to unplug the phone from, plug in a computer that Mark, Jim, and I had to share. And it was something like $2 a minute, just to check your emails or whatever. So anyways, there was no internet. So I just lay there. But I remembered that I believe it was Chris Spacuzza had burned some CDs for me before the trip, just some stuff. Hey, check this out. And 50 Cent's Get Rich or Die Trying was one of them. I listened to that CD front to back every single night for 3 weeks while just waiting to fall asleep and stuff like that, and learned to love it. Absolutely crazy. Everybody knows it. Great beat. Shows off the more of the just genius of Dr. Dre and that production. And it was just cool, that video, he's like jacked and doing like sit-ups while hanging upside down and running on the treadmill and stuff like that. And it was just a feel-good tune that you could tell. This guy's hard. He took 9 shots or whatever. That couldn't stop him, but he's here still just laying down cuts for us. 50 Cent, he's the man. I love the album, Get Rich or Die Trying. And then the G Unit album's pretty cool too. G Unit. Third on the list here, again, this is in no particular order. Actually, that's gonna be fourth, sorry. Is another one I couldn't find that I couldn't believe. It's supposed to be Eazy-E, Easy Does It. I found this other one, I think maybe this is the one after it, 187 Killer or whatever, which is also a great one. This is the one where he's making fun of Dre the whole time, stuff, but Give Me That Nut, what a great song. Me and my buddies used to just laugh at this stuff so much because it was just funny as we were kids, you know? I was probably like 10 listening to this. Okay, so that, anyways, Easy Does It though, his first album, I believe that's his debut, Easy Does It. And it's got, you know, some of the best songs on it, just classic. Still Talking, the album opener is just so funny, so amazing. And as you're a kid, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this exists. Nobody Move, come on. It's a song about a bank robbery. Everybody who knows that's rolling their eyes right now, duh, but I'm sure a lot of people don't know, but it's a song about a bank robbery, which I love. I love songs that tell a story. And this is just a great story about Eazy and his boys robbing a bank. And there's a particular thing where they're, you know, they're holding up the tellers or whatever, and there's a particular female teller that he's, you know, fancy to, and he decides he'd like to get romantic with her. And just as things are about to get intimate, he's met with a shocking surprise. If you know, you know. If not, give it a listen. But yeah, this is another one where one of my young, you know, when I was young, probably in 6th grade or something like that, one of my buddies' older brothers had it or whatever, and we'd kind of just listen to it secretly or with him and just laugh because the lyrics are so hilarious. Boys in the Hood, killer one, Radio. I'ma break it down just to tell a little story. I'ma break it down, I think that's another tune. Straight out the box from the gangster category. We want easy. Dun, dun, dun. So Eazy-E, rest in peace. That movie that came out, I don't know, was that 10 years now, maybe more? I forget what it was called, Straight Outta Compton maybe? Killer movie. Really shows the origin of all those guys and Snoop and Suge Knight, that producer and all that stuff, how Eazy was and how that relationship went and stuff. So cool movie, I recommend that if you haven't seen it. But Eazy-E and Easy Does It, another one that I just wore out big time. So much in fact that I can't find the CD anymore. So then let's move on to kind of the final one. And then as usual, we're gonna have a bonus. And this is a double, the Chronic collection. The original and 2001. Personally, I'm more of a fan of 2001. The original Chronic is amazing, you know, the introduction of Snoop, Let Me Ride, you know, Ain't Nothing But a G Thing. Come on, everybody knows that one. So many good ones. But then the Chronic 2001, I think I read something recently within the past few years or something, where Dre was saying that he really only has a few verses on this whole album, but there's so many great guest appearances that you kind of just don't even notice that he's not on there a lot. So he's definitely on there, but this really showcased so much of his great production mind and all the great artists that he chooses to use to collaborate with and use, and just how well that goes, from Exhibit, and Snoop, and all that. So many, yeah, there's the man right there. Thought maybe that was like a Morbid Angel record at first. Nope. Is Dre in the Morbid Angel? I doubt it. Oh man, The Watcher, Still Dre, Explosive. That's that one. Oh, so good, dude. What's the difference? Exhibit, that's an Exhibit, like, what's the difference between me and you? About 5 cars, 2 houses, and 3 vehicles, whatever he says. So it's just good lines, man. The Next Episode, come on. Yeah, this, you just saw Eminem explode on this too. Housewife, such a good one, but you can't make a whole housewife. Just killer stuff, man. Classics. That's what makes classic albums to me, ones that you remember the lyrics, you could put it on any time and just love it. And those songs feel as good today as they did back then, and they still make a system bump. Dre, I'm not familiar with anything before these, but they were just ones that came into my life. And like I said, I don't have any extensive knowledge of rap music or hip hop, other than this small collection of music that I like from hip hop. Otherwise, I'm listening to Sepultura and Deicide, you know? Little Metallica. So then, finally, to wrap it up, the one bonus, little Juggalo music for you here with ICP. Great record, The Great Malenko, my favorite from them. Again, every song on here, killer. Nope, I could sing this whole album. I got a buddy, George. We quote lines from this still to this day in texts on the regular. My favorite tune from the album, without a doubt, The Netting Game. Check that one out. It's like this recreation of a game show that they do, and it's absolutely hilarious. But Hocus Pocus, How Many Times, Southwest Voodoo, another good one, Halls of Illusions. Man, everyone, what is a juggalo? He ain't a phony. Walk up and dip his nuts in your macaroni. House of Horrors, Boogie Woogie. Like literally, I'm just naming them all in a row here because they're all great. The Netting Game, Down with the Clown, just like that. So many great ones. One of these guys passed away recently. Rest in peace. I think Riddlebox is the one before this, maybe. I could be wrong, but that had some good cuts on it too. Dead Body Man. So these guys, again, just funny. And I really think that's kind of like the main theme of all these, a lot of them for me, is that they're just funny. The stuff they say is just crazy, you know? Who would have thought? Two clowns, I think again from Detroit, would have such a huge impact. All those Gathering of the Juggalos. I think Kabira got invited to play a couple of those a couple times, but we never did it. But always fun, always good people watching in those. Everybody comes out in full effect. Their albums were all part of like a theme of like revealing certain clowns or something like that. See, I never got into any of that stuff at all. I was never a juggalo or anything like that. I just thought this stuff was super funny and enjoyed it. I think their beats are great. The lyrics are great. Just the songs, all that. Very, very cool. So I'm sure this was an odd one if you're a regular viewer of mine here to see me go through my favorite rap records. But hey, just trying things out here to see what happened. If you like this and you want more, let me know. If you think I should stay in my lane, you can let me know that too. But remember, keep it positive. I'm just sharing my love for music, no matter what it is, with all the music lovers out there as well. It's a tight-knit family. Well, actually, it's a pretty broad family, I'd say. You don't often meet somebody that says, no, I don't really listen to music. I suppose there are exceptions, but at any rate, for the music lovers and everybody who's been tuning into my stuff, I appreciate you. If you like this video, you know what to do. There's a little thumbs up there thing you can hit, and it helps me in the channel. Definitely make sure you're subscribed. And check out all the stuff in the description box below with links to my Patreon community. Don't forget to get 10 free guitar picks with my guitar instructional DVD, which then you can dispose of or use as a drink coaster or learn some riffing from. So all that is available in links in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. I'll be back soon with another video kind of like this with a different theme that I have in store and much, much more. Cheers. See you next time.